Why is it okay that the status quo, like this qualifications thing? Look at what Antony Blinken, I mean, on paper, he's very qualified and the world has gone to crap under him. The Defense Department, you got Lloyd Austin, who went on a medical sojourn for like 10 days. No one knew who he was. One of the top admirals in the Navy said he's really worried about munitions. We have given away everything, okay? And now we're worried about our stockpile. By the way, the Pentagon hasn't passed an audit in 8 years, and no one thinks that that's a problem. Maybe it's time we did something different. All right, guys, we're over the hump. Big weekend coming your way. Army-Navy game coming your way. You know where I am. Army's 11-1, but I feel good about our team. The game is here. It's normally it's been moving around. It used to be in Philly forever. It's down at what used to be called FedEx Field. I don't even know. There's apparently a new naming right. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I'm excited for the game. It doesn't matter even what the records are. Somebody told me yesterday Navy's favored, but we'll see. I think it doesn't even matter. You could be 0-11. You just get fired up for this game. So, and I promised you last week on the Friday Substack newsletter that I put out, SeanSpicer.com, I'll put some behind the scenes photos from the last few that I've gone to with President Trump to give you a second. Chicks on the right are here. I'm excited to hear their take on a lot of the things that are flying. It's always a good time. But I want to tell you one quick thing. This caught my eye last night. I always try to tell you, and I'm not trying to sell the show. I kind of am. But check this out. This is from Axios, okay? Heritage squeezes senators. Heritage Action is joining MAGA pressure campaigns against GOP senators who've raised concerns about Trump nominees. Why it matters. Senate Republicans have ignored MAGA activists. A new ad campaign. This is a scoop, by the way, from Axios. You know what the problem with the scoop is? We had Ryan Walker from Heritage on last week announcing the $1 million campaign that Heritage and Heritage Action were doing. So this just shows you, see, they want to pretend that they're scooping this. It's new, but it's new if you don't watch this show. And this is why I was saying before, after the election, when reporters are saying, we missed this. No, we didn't. You did. If you watch this show, you actually hear what's really happening. So I don't say that to toot our own horn, but we have the guests on that want to come on and give you information that no one else is getting. And then, of course, mainstream left-wing outlets bring it up as if they're the first ones to see it. So keep that in mind. And by the way, we've got exclusive polling this Friday on all the after action from the election. Brent Buchanan from Signal is going to show us stuff that's not going to be public until Monday. We will have the exclusive here on where things stand politically Friday at the 6 o'clock show. Before I start, if you have a lot of people coming over your house, it doesn't really matter actually why. But I know that, Thanksgiving, we had 11 people. I'm going to be traveling for Christmas. And you always think about safety issues, or at least I do. Maybe that's just my background. And, you know where the fire extinguisher is, but do you have a life vac? Do you have a life vac in your house? Because God forbid a choking accident happened. This could literally save your life or someone near you. And Life Vac has a proven record of having it happen. They put them in schools. They're now on cruises and in a lot of restaurants because some people don't understand how to do the Heimlich maneuver. Maybe they're worried that they'll hurt somebody or that they're not big enough or strong enough. Anybody can use a life vac. You put it over someone's mouth, it pulls the obstruction right out. Just like you have a first aid kit or a fire extinguisher, you should have a life vac. And the best part is if you get one of these and you end up, God forbid, having to use it, they will replace it for free. If your child or grandchild or niece or nephew goes to a school, they'll send one to them for free. Just like a lot of places now have defibrillators. It's such an easy thing to go do. Don't wait another minute because literally your life could depend on it. Go to lifevac.net, lifevac.net. All right. Last night, and I'm going to talk to the chicks on the right about this, Nancy Mace was attacked by a trans activist. But here's the thing. Did you hear about it on the news this morning? No, you didn't. You didn't hear about it. Time Person of the Year, by the way, they've narrowed their list to 5 people. We're going to help them pick the winner. I want to do this. And we'll obviously talk about the status of the nominations. Before we get to this, I got this amazing juice in my mailbox a couple weeks ago. 120 Life. I'm telling you, I have been blown away. And then I find out that this stuff actually reduces your blood pressure. You know, when you go in to see the doctor and the first thing they say is, let's take your blood pressure. You wouldn't believe this, but 1 out of 2 adults have high blood pressure. There's a 50-50 chance that you have high blood pressure. I mean, and think about how many things stem from that. But you can actually do something very simple. You can take 120 Life. You just drink it. And I'm not kidding. When you taste this is like, I would drink this all day long, and I didn't even know there was a health benefit to it. It's great tasting superfruits that actually lower your blood pressure. It's formulated with ingredients that are all natural that show how they can help to reduce your thing. And it's been endorsed by thousands of professionals. Here's the cool thing, though. You literally have nothing to lose on this. If you go to 120life.com, 120life.com, and use the code SPICER, you can save 50%. But here's why this is so cool. The folks at 120 Life are so sure that they can noticeably lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks that they will give you your money back if you're not satisfied. So it's not only a great tasting drink. I've loved this stuff. I have one every day. It will noticeably reduce your blood pressure. Win-win on that. So go to 120life.com. Remember to use code SPICER to save 15%. All right. Without further ado, I've been waiting for this like all week. This is what makes Wednesday. So the chicks on the right are here. Mock and Daisy, good to see you both.
Hello.
I commented early, Mock, you've got a new location. I was like, checking it out. It looks fabulous. I hope you've enjoyed moving to South Carolina.
It's been absolutely awful, but thank you for asking.
Well, oh my God. That is not the response.
I was wondering if she was going to be honest or not. I was like, is she going to lie or what's she going to do here?
What's been awful?
Yeah.
Well, the first week we got here, we both got the flu, and I have like a really bad knee. I need to get a brand new knee. That makes me sound like 150
No,
years
I've got
old,
2 hips and a knee that need to be
You
done.
do? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I keep putting it off though. And people who, I talk about, but both hips need to get done, and my right knee is not strong.
My right knee is really bad, and I'm dying. I'm not putting it off.
Can we get a Groupon? And
oh my God, we should totally get a group, because I want to get new hips, just like preemptively. Yeah, I just want to do that. Yeah, why
but
not?
I'm not putting it off. Like you're saying, you're putting it off.
Why
I'm
would you do
dying
that?
to get this done. I want to be
because
normal
every time they tell me,
stairs.
every time the doctor tells me, they're like, "Look, it's up to your pain tolerance. I'm not like hurting myself." And it's just, they go, this is what the recovery looks like. And then I look at the calendar. I'm like, okay, well, in 3 months from then, I'll do this, because they tell you how long you're out of commission. And so I keep making excuses, and I know that's not right, but I didn't want to do it before the election because I didn't know if I was going to have to travel. I'm scheduled to do it next year, and they'll do both hips 5 weeks apart.
Wow.
I don't know. I feel like I might punt again though, because I'm not.
Do it. It's better to be bionic. You want to be bionic, Sean.
You know what? There's just something. Okay, I actually, over the holidays, I was going to look at the calendar and plan it out again, because the reason I scheduled it, I mean, this is like so off topic, but the reason I scheduled it for the winter is because they said 3 to 4 months rehab. I want to be able to be outside and like swimming or taking, walks outside. I don't want to
hibernate in the winter.
Yeah.
You can hibernate.
All right. Let's get down to business. Let's talk nominations. How do you guys, just walk me through just your impressions as someone who's outside the DC bubble? Mark, I'll start with you. What do you think about how Trump's nominees are faring, and what are your overall impressions of the picks?
I love the picks. Well, I don't love all the picks. I mean, and Daisy will definitely address the ones that she's not particularly happy with, like the Surgeon General. But
why?
But
do you share that?
Oh, I can't stand her. I absolutely loathe her. She needs to step out immediately. I think she's a disaster.
Jeanette Neuschwander, right?
Jeanette. Is that how you pronounce it? Neuschwander? Yeah, I think she's a utter disaster. She needs to bow out.
Why?
Because of everything she did during COVID. You can't do takebacks on that. I just think that.
What does that mean? Because I've met her a couple times, actually at Mar-a-Lago. She's on Fox a bunch, and I've always thought she's a very nice person. I can't say I've looked into her medical record. I thought she was a private practice.
I'm sure she's delightful as a human being. I'm sure she's lovely. And
what do you mean that all the things she did during COVID?
She supported masks in school. She was all about the booster. She was like BFFs with Fauci. She was praising Fauci. She did the TikTok dances during COVID. I mean, she needs to go away. And then she also is all about this whole, hey, if your child identifies as another gender. I mean, is that stuff that
so I think I'm pretty well informed, right? Is that stuff that's on TikTok? Is it or is it on was it segments she did on Fox? Like how did you know this?
I just get on Twitter and I'd see the things, and I can see, and that stuff lives forever. So
I know,
there are a lot-
no, but I mean, that's where I did. So in other words, you have to, if you go to her Twitter page, that's where you'll see this.
Well, I mean, she probably is saying, I don't feel that way now, but I didn't listen. I was pretty consistent during that time. She is a doctor. So I just don't trust her. There are other people that Trump could have picked for this position. I love every other pick that he has picked. I mean,
Every one of them.
stellar. Every one of them, except for her. Stellar picks, really great disruptors. She is not that. She does not. It's like one of these things does not belong. She is the one that doesn't belong.
Interesting.
It's like that guy
go.
too that withdrew after.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it was for, who it was, but like some guy also. There was Twitter.
The DEA, Chad Cronison.
Yes, him.
Yes,
Mhm.
he had to withdraw because there was so much that came out about like this hunger that he had for control during COVID
Yes.
and some of the things that he said, people he went after. It was
Mhm.
ridiculous. And then Trump ended up saying, you know, of course, well, he didn't withdraw. I
Right.
told him to get out because I didn't like the things that he was saying to my supporters. But I mean, so I feel like there's, you know, with rare exceptions though, by and large, I'm really excited about the picks that
Okay.
Trump has
Totally.
made.
Without question.
Can I ask you guys a question? This is what I just, from a political science standpoint, so no one jump on me. I'm always intrigued by dynamics, but I feel like in Trump world right now, like look at a guy like Mike Pompeo. Now I've heard, and I didn't realize this at the time, because I talked to a lot of my buddies around Trump world, and I said, what's up with Pompeo? Like why suddenly the hostility to him? And they said, well, he made some comments about January 6th, which I still have never actually seen, to be clear. And then there was some DEI stuff at state. And I was like, okay, so largely he stayed, and he stayed loyal to the president.
Yeah.
And then I said, but let me get this straight. So RFK was a Democrat up until like 4 weeks ago. And he's okay. And Tulsi bashed the president when she was a Democrat, but then she switched over and she's okay. So to me, I'm always intrigued by the purity piece of this. Why is a guy like Pompeo on the outs, but somebody like RFK or Tulsi are okay?
No, I hear the Pompeo thing is a little bit weird to me too. Like I saw Pompeo speak here in Waco, several years ago now. I can't exactly, but I know it was after, he was in the administration, and it's like right after he lost a bunch of weight and everything. He looked good. I was like, gosh, he looks good. And I remember thinking then I wonder if he's going to run for president, because he had lost all that weight. He was like, and he was,
me too. And, you know what? When you lose a ton of weight, I always think you're going to run.
Right. What are you going to run for? So, and I was like, what is he doing? Like, what is he gearing up for? And he spoke very nicely about Trump, like that speech that he gave, and it was great. And he sounded very loyal. So yeah, that was kind of surprising to me too, Sean. I didn't know. I don't know. But then again, I'm not behind the scenes. I don't know what goes on behind closed
but
doors.
I think I'm not behind the scenes, but I'm like, I talk
but
to
you're in the scenes,
right?
Like, wait a second, why? But
you're in
Tulsi, and just so everyone understands this, I'm just trying to understand. I'm not crapping on anyone.
Right.
But what I don't get is Tulsi Gabbard literally was critical of Trump and his foreign policy decisions and the people who's surrounding himself up till like 2 years ago, right? And I appreciate and welcome her conversion. I want that. I love it. So, but what I don't understand is, when was the line? Why is it okay that she said, when she came over the line, we don't hold anything against her past? RFK, again, I love the Maha movement. I'm so I find myself so intellectually curious because he's asking questions that are like, yeah, God, why didn't I think of that? Why is that? And suddenly red dye number 3 is on the outs because of him.
No
but
more
the reason though, I mean, the reason I think that, or what you're asking is like, what's the difference between a Pompeo and some of these other people? The difference is that the other people that you've mentioned, the Tulsis, the RFKs, they are total disruptors. And Mike Pompeo is very old school establishment.
Yeah, he is.
He's the guy that everybody thinks of.
That's a great point. Oh,
being part of the old timey club.
Yeah, and I think
we don't want that anymore. People really want new, disrupting, different points of view. That's why that's why we're so into.
You know what? I think that I'm so glad you said that, Mark, because I've been searching for the word, right? Because people go, he wants to surround himself with loyalists, and I'm like, a loyalist can sit at a desk, right? That doesn't. But he wants disruptors. That's I'm gonna okay.
They're like the team of Marvel superheroes that are going to go in there and just smash the crap out of the establishment. That's what we wanted the first time. It just didn't quite make it. And now I think he is really poised to be able to do this, because he is surrounding himself with the right people. But then also his disposition is just different this time.
All he wants to talk about is the military. He's a military guy. I used to kid him about it. I didn't think we'd be in this position where he may be, hopefully will be Secretary of Defense.
I mean, I think that would happen after you get shot in the head.
You know what? By the way, I'm so glad you brought that up, because when he did the Meet the Press interview this weekend, everyone's like, the tone and tenor was so good. And I've said to people, two things that come to mind for me are, number one, in your second term, and especially having 4 years to think about it, your legacy is forefront. You're like, what do I want to be known for? What do I want to get done? But then secondly, not just one, but two assassination attempts have to get in the back of your head thinking, if I were to die, what would my legacy be? What have I done? What do I have? What do I want to spend my living days doing now that God has given me a second chance?
Right.
And I think that's it's overlooked by the media. I think he understands, he's acutely aware, more so, of the value of life and the precious time that we have to get things done.
Yeah. And how much he loves America, how much he loves his family, how much he loves all of us. And I think it's palpable. Like, you can see it this time. You can feel it. It's like, and we all want to be a part of that. And that is awesome. I love that.
And
So
he
Daisy,
knows better now. I mean, he's gone, he's done this before. Now he knows the game. He knows the levers to pull. He knows who he can trust, who he can't. I mean, he's better at it, right? Because he's experienced now.
And he doesn't want to fail. Like, I think that is another driver for him. Like, I don't think a lot of us, there's a lot of us who are really pissed off at a lot of people who wanted him to fail the last time around. And really, that was their mission in life, is to destroy him, right? And we want revenge on some of those people. Some of us are like, put him in jail, like Fauci for prison, people like that. I get it. But I think essentially his goal now, he is so tunnel vision. His revenge is success. I truly believe that. Like, he doesn't want to seek revenge on people. Maybe there are people around him who are like, yeah, we're going to maybe seek revenge on some of these people. But Trump, he just wants to succeed, which is what we want. I believe.
By the way, you know what though? There's a difference. I think that, to your point, the success is the revenge, because it's almost like, haha, I told you guys.
Yeah.
See, I did. I mean, like, he wants it. Maybe not. There's some people who altruistically want success, right? I want you to do better. I think he wants to show all these naysayers, see, I made the country better, safer, more prosperous, despite your negativity. Yeah. Yep. All right, Daisy, you're down on Dr. Jeanette, but who are you high on? Who is the one person you go, if there's one person that needs to make it over the finish line that I really, really am excited for, who's that?
Well, I'd say Tom Homan and then Pete Hegseth. Those are the two, kind of the neck and neck. They are tied.
Mock.
I mean, Tom Homan, it's a slam dunk. Like, there's just nobody better at being in that role.
Right.
Pete Hegseth, I think, is gaining a lot of favor. I'm excited about the momentum that he's got. And Kash Patel, are you kidding me? The fact that the left hates him so much just fills me with glee, and I'm stoked about it. I'm stoked about all of them.
What do you think about, like, I was having this discussion on we have this morning meeting every morning at 9 a.m. on YouTube channel. People can tune in. And we were talking about the tactics, and I remind people, Biden lost 0 Senate Democrats for 21 of his cabinet nominees. No Senate Democrat voted against a single nominee. And so us Republicans with the 3-seat majority should remember that like, unless you have they've personally beaten you up, like, I don't know why we're having this discussion. They got through a bunch of unqualified people, and people are like, oh, well, the tactics, the Heritage Foundation running ads, Charlie Kirk threatening Mike Rounds. I wouldn't even say, by the way, that's an inappropriate use by me. He isn't threatening him. He's reminding him, hey, if you don't want to go along, we'll primary you. That's not a threat. It's a reality.
Right.
But some people are like, oh, these tactics are unseemly. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. We've been talking about this ever since we started Chicks on the Right. We've talked about how Republicans have a hard time rallying. We're just not a rallying kind of party. We rallying. You know what I mean? Because I think it's because I can't speak for Joni Ernst or people like that, but we're just so independently thinking, that's just how we are. I think as individuals, we're very individualistic, as, just all of us, as we encompass our party. But on top of that, it's like, I get so frustrated. We both do. We get very frustrated with that, because it's like, can you guys just get it together and rally for the party?
And remember the team that you're on for once, for crying out loud?
Yeah. Yeah. This is the thing. I mean, come on, get it together.
Well, also, like, why are you, like, to your point about, I love the term disruptor, right? It's like, why is it okay that the status quo, like this qualifications thing? Look at what Antony Blinken, I mean, on paper, he's very qualified and the world has gone to crap under him. The Defense Department, you got Lloyd Austin, who went on a medical sojourn for like 10 days. No one knew who he was. We have a stockpile. I mean, the admiral, by the way, this is a story that came out yesterday. The one of the top admirals in the Navy said he's really worried about munitions. We have given away everything. Okay. And now we're worried about our stockpile. And somehow, and by the way, the Pentagon hasn't passed an audit in 8 years. And no one thinks that that's a problem. Maybe it's time we did something different.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. And at least Pete Hegseth understands what it is like to be in the military, to be in combat, to serve in actual, like, with other men. He's not just making decisions at this level where he's not considering what happens to military families. He actually gets that firsthand.
Yeah.
And he understands what the military's purpose is. It's not to fall prey to all this woke nonsense and to, like, make the left happy that there's enough trans people in it or whatever. It's about lethality.
Yes.
And it's really, really nice to hear him talk about that, because it's like, where has that attitude been for the last?
Do you know what I tell people all the time? The military is not a social experiment. If we get attacked, you don't want someone sitting there negotiating their pronouns with the Chinese. You want them to kill them and defend us, not go, my pronouns are he, they. It's like, the Chinese are going to go, is this a joke? Is this like a tactic?
Right.
Yeah. We're supposed to be creating warriors. I can't believe we have to talk about this. Like, I can't believe we have even gotten to the point where we're having this discussion right now. Like, this is all common sense. And so I think a lot of us out here are like, okay, so Pete just wants to go in there and reestablish common sense in the freaking military. Hello.
Yes.
Why is this a bad thing?
It's needed desperately.
Right. Yeah, make it happen.
You know what's funny though is there's some chatter now about, like, well, Tulsi Gabbard this, and I saw something that was just funny because it's almost like a backfiring tactic. This gets back to the left versus the right. So there's this thing breaking. Nearly 100 national security officials have reportedly signed a letter expressing opposition to Tulsi Gabbard's confirmation as director of national intelligence. And I tweeted back, by the way, I said, how many of these were on the Hunter Biden laptop?
Right.
By the way, I just. What's the old saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm like, do you guys get this tactic? Like, you guys blew it last time. I wouldn't be signing any more letters.
Oh, it's a sternly worded letter. Ooh.
Sternly.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
We're all scared. Yeah. Okay.
All right. We talked about nominees. Let's talk about actual issues. I want to ask you this: if you had a crystal ball and could look into the future and say, I'm looking at Trump's last day in office, what thing would you want to look back on and say, the one thing I want to know that he accomplished was X? What's that thing that says this is going to define whether Trump has a successful presidency or not? Mock, I'll start with you on this one.
There's so many, though. I can't pick one. I want a secure border. I want our military to be the most feared and the most effective in all the land. I want energy independence.
Is this Christmas?
It is. I mean,
I don't know how I'm supposed to.
I want a new truck. I want the army men. I want crayons.
Right.
I don't know how to pick just one, because there's so many things that need to be.
Hold on. I want to hear Daisy's answer, and then I'll tell you what I thought you were going to say.
My big one for me, because this is one of the reasons that I became that we started what we started for my kids, for my grandkids, is government accountability. I think that they've gotten way too big for their britches.
Yep.
Our government is bloated and out of control. I'm so excited about Doge. And I just want these people to remember that they work for me. I pay their salaries. I'm so sick of these people taking my money and setting it on fire. And I just want some freaking accountability for once.
I agree. Here's what I thought, Mock, you were going to lead with, because you're so high on Tom Homan. And I know you said it, don't get me wrong, because you did say it, but I just don't think if you don't have a strong and secure border, you don't have a country. Nothing else matters. You can't talk about an economy. You can't talk about safety if you can't have a secure border. I mean, nothing else matters, right? And that's so I
said it first.
No, you did. You did. Right.
She's like, I just want all these other things in my stocking.
Right. Then I need this. Then I want that. I just think, look, he's got to do that, because you can't, any of these other things, you don't have account. I'm so fired up about Doge because I tell people I was the budget communications director in the House for 3 years, and we did this modest 0.5% cut back in the early 2000s on discretionary spending, and people wigged out. I don't understand why. If I go to work every day for 40 hours a week, rather, 8 hours a day, or who cares, double job, how you can sit back and not be outraged at how your government spends your money.
Right.
I mean, the backwards mentality is give us more and then we'll figure out how to spend it. My view is, I get it. You have to do some tasks. I get taxes are a reality of living in a free country, but don't waste my money and then mock and then laugh at it.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the post office guy? We played him on our show this morning.
Louis DeJoy?
Yeah, he covered his ears.
I know. That was, yeah.
I cannot, like, this is the thing. And that is a microcosm for our bloated government. It's like,
but did you watch the whole thing? I didn't. And what I was trying to figure out, I saw the clip with him and Rich McCormick, the congressman from Georgia. And I get it. It was a viral moment, but I think sometimes, like, what was he going after him for?
Because he gave himself an A when asked to grade his performance.
Oh.
I mean,
and McCormick was like, "Are you kidding me?
Are you drunk?
Demanding more and more money and failing harder and harder, and you're going to give yourself an A?" That was what they were talking about.
Yeah, and he's like, la 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 la. I mean, this is who we're dealing. And the guy makes what, $340,000 a year, and then he gets bennies and he gets a retirement, and it's like, come on. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of bennies and running a company, if you are the person that runs your company or you run the finances, you know what you need? One of these. This is a Ramp card. It will make your life so much better. If you have 5 or 5,000 employees, it doesn't matter. This will simplify your business expenses. You know, sometimes, I mean, I even do it for my own company, and this is why I'm signing up for Ramp, is you end up with like 1 million little receipts or whatever. Ramp takes all of that away. It gives your finance teams more insight, creates efficiencies, saves you a ton of money. It organizes it. You don't have to run around chasing expenses. You can put limits on stuff. They can issue you virtual cards, physical cards. And it's like literally, look, this is blank, so don't get too high on this thing. But this is a Visa card. So you hand these to your employees. They go out. You can set the limits on how much they can spend, where they can spend it. And it literally makes it so much easier. It puts money back in your pocket because this expense management software is designed to help you do it. It's easy to use. You can get started in like less than 15 minutes. And right now, check this out. It's Christmas time. It's the holiday season. If you need more money, by signing up for Ramp, you get $250 just for signing up. And I'm telling you, it's like a win because you save money, you save time, and now you get $250. So go to ramp.com/Spicer, ramp.com/Spicer. Remember, cards are issued by Sutton and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. Guys, I want to just tell you this. It's funny how elections change stuff. This is Adam Schiff has changed his tune. You remember little Adam Schiff? He's running around and would lie about intelligence, the Russia hoax, and Trump needs to be indicted, and like we need to preemptively attack Trump. So there's a little clip, a little timeline of little Adam Schiff, and I want to play it for you just to see how his tune has changed now.
On the day Donald Trump leaves office, the Justice Department may indict him.
Very strongly in favor of indicting the president when he is out of office.
I don't think the incoming president should be threatening his political opponents with jail time. That's not the kind of talk we should hear from a president in a democracy.
Oh my God. I can't.
Yeah, that's not the kind of talk you should hear. It's definitely not the kind of talk you should hear, except that I said it. Do these guys not know that we have the internet?
Can somebody show that to him? Like, that's what I want. I want a video reaction of him being shown that and having to respond to it.
Just remarkable.
Dude, do you really think, like, if you're his staff, I mean, God, by now you've got to see, do you literally go, do we show it to him or not?
If you're his staff, you should just, first of all, you should raise your hand and then promptly punch yourself in the face and then quit. You need to just quit. Quit. Go find another job.
Better.
With your life.
I want to switch topics because there was another thing that happened. I wrote about this in my newsletter yesterday, and I think it's unbelievably consequential, and I don't think it's getting but this Daniel Penny verdict, right? He's the guy in New York that was acquitted of saving people, helping people on the subway. And I don't think the loss of life should be taken for granted, but he ended up killing the person who was trying to harm other individuals. I think that this verdict to me means so much for a country because we rely on good Samaritans to help people to come to their aid. And if we were going to penalize somebody for stopping and helping individuals, and he was a Marine, right? He was trained to help, with the tools to help people. If he had been convicted, it would have sent a message that I think would have changed the fabric of the country to say, don't help your neighbor, don't help your fellow citizen in their time of need.
Yeah.
The fact that this court case was even brought has already changed America in that way, I'm afraid. I mean, thank God for the verdict, but like the damage was kind of done, because now anybody who is in that position ever again is going to remember what happened to him. And yes, it had a good ending, but like he had to go through absolute hell because of the assholes in the New York prosecuting department. I mean, the Alvin Bragg, all of them are just so awful. The fact that this case was even brought, I think, did really bad harm to people's, like the American psyche about helping others in need.
Yeah, it's not political. This shouldn't be political, and it shouldn't be racial. None of that. It's just he was a dude on a subway just helping a bunch of other people that it had the melanin in their skin was of no consequence.
And you bring that up, but the liberal commentators can't help it. They're like, imagine this is Mehdi Hassan. He's the former MSNBC.
Of course.
Imagine if Jordan Neely, who's the victim, who's the man that he ended up killing, had been white and Daniel Penny was black. Imagine what some of the folks defending Penny would be saying. I'd be saying the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Same
if
exact
you were
thing.
jacked up, wasn't the guy on drugs or something? And
yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I would say
threatening to hurt people.
Yeah,
like he was absolutely being a threat. And Daniel Penny wanted to restrain him from hurting other people, who, by the way, are people of all colors and who are grateful to Daniel Penny for what he did.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad it turned out. I want to turn back to the election because I think I was asked this last night by someone, are Democrats going to come to grips with like internally looking at themselves? And I said, not yet. And I hope not. And then sure enough, Obama was asked this question. And I want to tell you what President Obama said. He said, the election proved that democracy is pretty far down on people's priority list.
The election proved that democracy is pretty far down on people's priority list.
In other words, God, if we didn't elect Kamala, then we don't care about democracy. Never mind how many people participated in the process, that it was historic, that Trump got more. I mean, like, somehow because they lost, democracy wasn't on people's minds. And it lost the idea. I mean, just think about this for a second. We all participated in the democratic process, but somehow it wasn't high on our minds because we didn't vote for the candidate that he wanted.
Which mansion did he say that from?
I think he was on the Vineyard this week.
Oh, okay. Was it that one? Yeah, it's going to be affected by climate change.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that guy has lost his connection, I think, with the American people. Like I say nobody. A lot of people who used to give a crap what he said don't give a crap what he says anymore, and that drives him crazy.
It's so hypocritical. Somehow democracy dies in darkness. The elections, this will be the last election we ever have. Blah blah. And now because they lost everything, like a ton of like their constituency, the popular vote, the electoral college, its democracy wasn't on the top of mind for us because we didn't vote for their person.
He should keep scolding everybody. That's working really well for him.
Especially black men. He should do that to black men especially.
Oh yeah, I think he already did, didn't he?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Or maybe, God, and I'm going to throw this out there. So just an idea. Maybe blame the candidate and how bad of a campaign she ran. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Maybe you could say she sucked. She ran a horrible campaign.
Mm-hmm.
She's not likable. I'm just throwing that out there for the team. You guys,
Yeah. And that candidate, one can assume, was, picked primarily by Obama. I mean, That's what a lot of us think. So maybe it's your fault, Obama.
But here's the other thing. Maybe with the $1 billion that they had and all the celebrities, that they didn't, I don't know, run a good campaign. Because here's another interesting little side note for you. You remember the Call Her Daddy podcast?
Oh yeah.
That was a great podcast. I mean, we could go down a rabbit hole on this and just how stupid that was. But the thing that I found funny is, so Alex Cooper, who's the Call Her Daddy podcast host who talks about sex and everything, is on this set. I want to play this for you because this is what Alex Cooper says about Kamala Harris and the money that they spent on this appearance. Take a look.
There's a little bit of controversy about that podcast because you did it. Do you know about this?
No, what?
Because in D.C., this interview happened in D.C.
Yeah.
In a hotel.
Yeah, not in a hotel. It was like a random house.
It was like random house. But apparently, you can tell me, they spent, meaning the Harris campaign spent like $100,000.
I did see that.
You know about this?
It's hilarious.
To build the studio.
Yeah, that's not true.
Not true. To make it look like it was the studio that you used in L.A.
My studio that is gorgeous in Los Angeles doesn't even cost six figures. So I don't know how cardboard walls could cost six figures, but.
But do you think they did that? I mean, you saw
Absolutely not. With love to them. Oh my God, it was gorgeous, but like, it wasn't that nice. It wasn't like gorgeous marble. Like, no, that was not six figures.
So
what is she even saying?
She's mocking them.
Yeah. It's and the set, it was like stuff you'd put in your first apartment, you know? It was bad.
Yeah, I don't think
really
you ever
bad.
saw my first apartment, by the way.
It definitely, listen, my first apartment, the furniture didn't cost $100,000, I assure you. But it was like that.
But just stop for a second and think about this, okay? They, instead of going to LA, which, by the way, Kamala Harris went to all the time because that's where she's from, they brought Alex Cooper here and said, well, we're going to fake it. So we want people to think we're in LA. So we're going to spend $100,000 building out a set that mirrors hers, which I don't get why that somehow I mean, to me, like, if you're a donor, how pissed have you got to be right now being like, you got to be kidding me that this is how you squandered my money?
Well, that and the twerking, once you saw all the twerking going on and people getting paid to twerk, I'd be like, all right, I'm done. Why did I give money to these people? It was,
we don't spend a lot of time on the after action reports unless you're like a total campaign nerd here. But the after action, I mean, they blew $1 billion, and they're in debt.
Is that what you call it? Is that what you call that? What do you call it? The after action? Is that what it? Because it should be called disaster recovery. Is what it should be called.
I mean, just think about this. She goes on this podcast, and which again, I question the validity of it. I mean, whatever. But then she spends $100,000 to replicate a set. They go into debt. I mean, just again, and Obama wants to blame democracy. I blame stupidity.
Well, of course, he's not going to blame himself. These people.
No, he's not going to blame himself, but he could say, hey, at this point, why not throw over the bus and say, hey, I ran a great campaign. She doesn't know how to do it. And look, I mean, like, Professor Obama must have taken economics. And at some point he comes out, look, but I think part of it is a lot of his team was there, right? It was Pluff and all these guys who were guiding her, Dan Pfeiffer. And I think that they know he has to inherently criticize his own guys because those largely who were the people. But here's the other thing.
I have a question for you. I want to know how, because you're going to know the answer to this. I want to know how much Kamala is going to make going on speaking, like a speaking tour. Like how much is speech is she going to make now?
It's a great question. So
I want to cover my ears because I don't want to know this.
What are you,
number.
the Postmaster General? So in a normal circumstance, I would say that she could probably pull six figures in for events, right? But I don't know who. The problem I have right now is who wants her.
There's got to be stupid liberals that do that.
There are, but they're not. They're not willing to. I mean,
and universities,
they're not as dumb as like they are building a set. I don't know. I bet you she gets 50 or 60 a speech plus expenses or something. But I wouldn't. Because every corporation now doesn't want to get brand. I mean, if this was 2016, I don't know that they'd care. They brought Hillary around for goodness sake.
Right.
I just don't think this is different because they need to suck up to Trump. So there's also a PR piece of, do you really want to bring in Kamala Harris to the board meeting knowing that it'll leak out and it'll get back to the White House that you knuckleheads just did that when you're trying to suck up to Trump. So I think from a PR standpoint and from a lot of other financial standpoints, so she may not do that well because you need an audience, like liberal groups maybe, but even then they're not proud of her. She got smoked.
Right.
What do you like? Hillary was the first. And I mean, I don't know. She was still former first lady, former secretary of state. There's some maybe value there. But what are you paying for with Kamala? I mean, I don't know. But here's the other thing. By the way,
she was border czar, Sean.
Oh,
and she's unburdened. She's got a lot to talk about.
Very unburdened.
Getting back to her being a candidate, she did a clip the other day. I guess it's post Thanksgiving and it was a reminder again of why the candidates sucked. Let me play for you this because again, she reminds us about what we should do if we go over to other people's houses on the holidays. And just you might want to take notice of this in case you're going to somewhere for Christmas. Take a look.
Celebrate our blessings, get some rest, try and get some good food over there. You know, if you're going to other people's house and they don't cook so well, bring your own dish. Do what you gotta do to take care of yourself.
Bring your own dish.
Bring your own dish.
But she's cringy. Like it's not even funny. It's like she's like, if you go to someone else's house and they don't cook well, bring your own dish.
I mean, oh my God.
That's not funny.
She's always been cringe. She's always been that way. Yeah.
And then, by the way, this gets, again, I keep going down this because there was so much here. There's a story that came out in the New York Times, and it literally says this: 2 days before the election ended, a group of staffers from VP Kamala Harris' campaign discreetly launched an unauthorized latch-dish effort to reach Black and Latino voters in Philadelphia they believe the campaign had ignored. Campaign organizers in Philadelphia said that they were told not to engage in the bread and butter task of getting out the vote in Black and Latino neighborhoods. Instead, they said they were instructed to spend most of their days phoning the same small pool of volunteers, asking them to knock doors and help them run field offices. These guys, I mean, Obama wants to blame democracy. This is democracy. Get out there and campaign, you knuckleheads.
Right. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to rely on celebrities.
Yeah. I mean, that's the,
and there was like Kathy Griffin actually blamed Taylor Swift for not doing enough. I mean, this is
my God.
Yeah, these people are insane. Yeah.
By the way, I've realized that the secret to getting elected is have Taylor Swift endorse you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that. All right. There is the Time Person of the Year is going to be announced tomorrow. And normally I don't really give a crap about what the mainstream media says and what they think. So I'm not sure that I care that much, but I think it's fun. So they narrowed the list today to 5 people: Kamala Harris, Kate Middleton, Elon Musk, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Donald Trump. Instead of asking you the obvious question, I want to work it backwards. We're going to eliminate people. Okay. So who is the first person of those 5 that you want to eliminate and say that's not going to be the person? Kamala Harris,
yes,
Princess,
Kamala Harris,
Elon Musk, Netanyahu, DJT. Who do you eliminate first?
Kamala goes first.
Kamala goes first.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to say actually Kate Middleton goes first because I just don't think like she's obviously gone through this cancer treatment, but I don't know that makes you a person of the year. It's like you were dealing with treatment. And again, I'm not trying, but it's like normally it's someone who's done something. Okay. So
she would be my next person.
She would be my next one too.
Okay. Yes. So we can safely lock out Kamala and Kate. We're all in agreement. And I wouldn't disagree with you. I could be persuaded to go Kamala first, Kate second. But again, okay. So that leaves our final 3 with Elon Musk, Benjamin Netanyahu, and Donald J. Trump. Okay. Who is the next person off our island?
Netanyahu. I mean, it's hard to do, but you know,
it is hard to do. To me, that's probably right. And I actually, I mean, I might be jumping the gun here, but I think Elon, I would pick him.
Oh, no, don't.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, because I'm in agreement. We're just pretending we're the. Okay, I'm agreeing. Like Netanyahu again dealt with a lot. I'm not trying to minimize what's going on with him, but I think he's been a player, but I don't think he's the person of the year. Okay, so that brings it down to Elon and Trump. Mock, you clearly have a winner in mind, I heard. So let's
Me too. I'm right with Mock. And I think we have the exact same reason why, because we are sharing a brain right now.
But here's the weird thing. So say it, just to be clear. Who do you think the person of the year is?
Elon.
Okay, I'm with you. We're all sharing a brain.
Yep. He saved free speech exactly for what Mock said. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think for a couple reasons. One, I agree with you. Like he played this exorbitant role. Again, I think the person of the year plays a big role. It's not just that they were in the news a lot, right? And what Elon did is save free speech. He's been obviously super involved with Doge and all this stuff. Like he's played this, he did a lot of get out the vote stuff in Pennsylvania, giving away money. And I think, frankly, that folks at Time want to give someone it in MAGA world, but they've given Trump it before and they don't want to look like they're in the tank and they don't want to get criticized because that's what the media does. So I'm with you. I think it's Elon that gets this.
Yep.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, think about what he does aside from owning X and saving free speech and being in charge of Doge. Think about just the freaking rocket parallel parking. I mean, the things that he has done they're just beyond remarkable. And so, and all of that stuff is within literally the last couple of years. Like that's, when I think about what I've done in the last couple of years compared to what Elon's done, like I want to crawl in shame and hide.
There is, you know what? I love when you say that because I'm sitting here going, you're right. God, I haven't done you when you hold you got to judge yourself on your own curve here because I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know.
It's remarkable. Yeah. He does a lot. I know I need to make some New Year's resolutions. It's crazy.
Parallel park a rocket.
Can you imagine that?
It's crazy.
Parallel park a rocket.
Right.
Launch, buy
like
social media platforms.
Save free speech. Yeah. I mean, this is what
lead government efficiency task force.
Right. Exactly. I know. And then be like a meme master. He's such a meme master. The guy's hilarious. Yeah.
And also, I've never seen, I mean, think about like this outsized role he's playing with Trump. I mean, he flew to Paris with him for the opening of Notre Dame. I mean, he is a player like no one else. And that's why.
He's kind of like the Doc to Wyatt Earp. You know what I mean? He's sort of, that's like his role. Like, I don't know. Like I look at them and I'm thinking he's not that Trump isn't smart. I think Trump is really smart. I just think that he's like, you know how Doc was with, I don't know. Maybe I look at everything through a Tombstone lens, but like that, that is what I look at those two and I'm like, okay, they're kind of like buds now. And he's sort of like that guy that kind of hangs to the side, but he's super smart guy that he's going to, he's going to be asking him questions. He's going to be like telling him his opinion about things. I dig that. He's a good guy to have on your side.
Yeah, I want him on my side. Okay, and I'm going to revise my list. And because of Mock, I'm going to get a Christmas list going. Guys, always good to see you. Thanks for being here and getting us over the hump this week. Tomorrow, we've got a great panel your way. Bill O'Reilly on Friday, plus that exclusive polling from Signal coming your way. And I got to add some questions. I'm just telling you, you're going to want to hear what I added to this survey because it's pretty cool. We're going to get information that no one else has. So hear it her first. Don't read it in Axio next week. See you tomorrow. Thanks for being with us. Have a good night. See you back here tomorrow on The Sean Spicer Show. Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.